an orientation to what we'll be doing today. So I'm going to orient us to the physical space and invite you to maybe turn on your video so that we can all look at each other's faces. Sometimes it's nice for our nervous system to be able to see who's here, even just for a moment. If you feel like it, it's totally optional. And once you've done that, if you want to, at the moment after that, I'll talk about who I am, and we'll then do a grounding meditation. And prior to that, actually, I'm going to offer prayers of gratitude to the land and our ancestors. And then we'll start with the grounding meditation and moving into about a 45-minute to an hour practice. And at the end of the practice, we'll have a really nice, long, juicy Shavasana. It's about 7 minutes. And at the end of the Shavasana, we'll open the space for whoever wants to share. We'll turn off the recording. So as long as I'm the only one that's speaking, I should be the one that's on the recording. Your face won't be shown. And then at the end, it might be nice to share to integrate if you feel like that would be supportive for you. Great. So I know that you're all in your homes, and I wanted to first acknowledge that, considering the times that we live in, we are all coming from different places, different situations, different identities, different ways that what's happening in the external world is impacting us on a very individual and internal level. So I just wanted to honor that, and perhaps it would be nice for us to come into this collective space with 3 breaths together. So we'll take a nice inhale, if you feel like it, towards the pelvic bowl. So your pelvic bowl, the pelvic area, the bone looks like a bowl with the joints. So imagine that you're breathing down towards the bowl. It doesn't necessarily have to reach there, but just the intention of breathing towards that womb space can be really nice. So we'll take an inhale together and exhale through the mouth. 2 more like that. Inhale. Exhale through the mouth. 1 more inhale. And exhale. Great. Thank you for joining me in the breath. And now I'd like to invite you to take a look around your space. And I know that you're in your home, but it might feel nice for your nervous system if you were to look around and perhaps naming a few things that you see with your eyes. Perhaps naming the texture of what you're seeing, the color. And then using your sense of listening to hear what's around you. Maybe you also begin to feel what's beneath you. Perhaps there are objects or the texture of your clothing, or perhaps the way your sit bones meet whatever's beneath you. Maybe you lick your lips or your teeth. And the idea is that when we use our senses to gauge where we are, it helps our nervous system feel safer. It signals to our nervous system that we are aware of all that's around us. So a little bit more orientation to here and now. It's Tuesday, April 14th at 1:10 p.m. And if you're watching the recording, it might be nice for you to name the day, time, and place that you're in. So I am here in San Diego on Kumeyaay territory. And a little bit about myself. So I'm a Malaysian Chinese native. I was born and raised there, and I moved here to go to SDSU in 2013 as a junior. And I currently work with women. I host women's circles, trauma-informed women's circles, and I work, I'm currently in training for somatic healing. If any of you were on yesterday's class, Sarah talked a lot about body-based healing when it comes to healing trauma. And so the practice of yoga is a beautiful way for us to build relationship with our body, which can then lead to deeper healing and integration of our healing work. So that's where I'm coming from. That's what I do. And if there's any other questions that you have about me, the identities and the analysis in which I bring towards my offering, please feel free to let me know. And if you feel like it might feel nice to turn on your video and look around and see who else is here. You don't have to. Great. So now I'd love to take a moment to offer some gratitude to the land that we each live on. Gratitude to our ancestors. Gratitude to the elements of the earth that are within and without us. Gratitude to the seasons, the cycles of life. And gratitude to the Women's Resource Center and for their efforts in creating this programming for Take Back the Week. Gratitude to all the different parts that allowed us to be here and now in this place, that allowed for this medicine of yoga to be available to us. Gratitude to the teachers of yoga, to the lineage of yoga. And I also wanted to take a moment to acknowledge my mom, who passed away actually 6 years ago to the day. So today is the anniversary, and I just wanted to take a moment to honor her. And finally, I wanted to offer gratitude to this community, to you for being here, for saying yes, for hearing the call. It is my deepest honor to be able to offer this session to you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the community that I've witnessed as flourishing at the Women's Resource Center. So thank you for being here. Okay, so let's go ahead and move into a grounding practice. You're welcome to close your eyes. And as you are here, wherever you are, just take a moment to sense what's here for you. Maybe you notice the temperature of the room. Maybe you notice the sounds once more. Perhaps the sounds that are outside of your room or your apartment, your home. And then perhaps you hear the sounds that are within your home. And maybe now you notice what's within yourself. And perhaps you just start with the breath. Maybe just beginning to notice the texture and the temperature of your breath, its depth, where the breath wants to go as you notice the air coming in through your nostrils or your mouth. There's no wrong way to breathe. Today's practice will be focused on slowing down to listen. The invitation is for you to build a deeper relationship with your body in terms of interoception, which is the ability to sense, witness, and perhaps follow sensations at the level of the body. From here, I invite you to take a deep breath in towards your pelvic bowl once more. And exhale through the mouth. We'll do 2 more like that together. Inhaling. And exhale. 1 more inhale. And exhale. If it feels good to you here, you can continue with this breath. Otherwise, I invite you now to sense the part of your body that is supported by what's beneath you. Maybe you're seated on a pillow or a blanket. Just begin to feel the weight of your body meeting the blanket or the pillow. Notice what it's like to meet gravity, allowing gravity to do its work. And as you're sensing the way that you might be meeting the earth, perhaps you sense the way gravity rises, or the earth rises to meet you. That there is a relationship, a positive feedback loop between you and the earth, connected by what we know as gravity, a force that keeps us anchored to our beautiful land, this earth that regenerates us, nourishes us, supports us. And from this place, you're invited to connect to your energetic roots. So perhaps from in color or a texture, and perhaps in your mind's eye, really visualize the roots growing deep down in nourishing soil, in fertile ground. And as your roots grow deep, they also grow wide. And notice if there are other root systems that are around you, perhaps the root systems of your community, of the plant life that surrounds you on this land. Notice how your roots want to interact with these other roots. Perhaps your roots make space for one another. Perhaps they're deeply intertwined, intricately connected, creating space for one another, acknowledging the presence of each other, that we carry our own unique medicine, our own unique stories, skill sets, gifts, needs that are equally important. I invite you to take a breath into this collective root system. And we'll stay here for a few more moments as I'd like to read you an excerpt from a book that I'm currently reading. You're welcome to stay connected to your breath, or maybe the part of your body that you feel connected to the earth, or maybe the root system. You choose your own adventure here. But the invitation is for you to stay rooted to what's here and now. So this is from Emergent Strategy, written by Adrienne Maree, and it feels particularly important in the context of which our world is currently in. Adrienne writes,
If the goal was to increase the love, rather than winning or dominating a constant opponent, I think we could actually imagine liberation from constant oppression. We would suddenly be seeing everything we do, everyone we meet, not through the tactical eyes of war, but through the eyes of love. We would see that there's no such thing as a blank canvas, an empty land, or a new idea. But everywhere, there's complex, ancient, fertile ground full of potential. We would understand that the strength of our movement is in the strength of our relationships, which could only be measured by their depth. Scaling up would mean going deeper, being more vulnerable, and more empathetic. Later in that paragraph or that page, she writes, I am listening now with all my senses, as if the whole universe might exist just to teach me more about love. I listen to strangers. I listen to random invitations. I listen to criticisms. I listen to my body. I listen to my creativity and to the artists who inspire me. I listen to others. I listen to my dreams and the books I am reading. I notice that the more I pay attention, the more I see order, clear messages, patterns, and invitations in the small or seemingly random things that happen in my life. In all these ways, I meditate on love. So my intention for today's class is to offer a deeper sense of connection with you and your body. That listening that she speaks of, listening to the patterns, listening to our body, listening for sensations that can then become messages, become wisdom and guidance for how to heal. To heal ourselves is to heal the collective. And so that's the invitation for you today. So we'll go ahead and begin our practice now. Thank you for listening so deeply and intently. I appreciate that greatly. So go ahead and open your eyes if you're not already there, and we'll find our way into a child's pose. So we'll start coming onto your mat if you're not already there. Bring your knees towards your mat's width. Big toes touch. I like to sit on my heels first before gently crawling down towards the mat. And there are a few options here for you. You can either place your hands long towards the front edge of your mat. Here's where a block or a blanket might be nice. You can put it beneath your forehead. Another option while you're down here is to bend at the elbows, place your palms together, and allow the thumbs to come towards the nape of your neck. This might invite some opening here underneath the forearms and in the shoulders. So we'll be here for a couple minutes. The invitation is to start to slow down and listen to the body. So as you're in your child's pose, maybe you wiggle a little, maybe you rock from side to side, just to get a little bit more comfortable here. In whatever way feels accessible and doable to you. Just begin to deepen the breath once more. You can inhale through the nose or through the mouth. And perhaps listening to the sound of your breath, it being so close to you as you bring your forehead to the ground. Being this close to Mother Earth can be really grounding. You can experiment with your hands if the position where your palms meet doesn't feel comfortable. You can always stretch them out once more. And now we're going to do Sama Vritihi, which is equal parts breath. We're going to inhale for a certain count, and I'll leave it up to you for how long you want your inhales to be. So as you inhale, count to perhaps a count of 3 or 4, whatever feels accessible to you. And as you inhale, we'll pause for 2 counts. 1, 2. And exhale for the same amount of counts that you had on the inhale. So for example, my count is 4. I'm going to inhale for 4 counts. 1, 2. Exhale for 4. 1, 2. So you're going to inhale, hold for 2, exhale, hold for 2. Inhale. At your own pace. I'll let you know when to release the breath work. It might take a little effort. The key word is breath work. In Sanskrit, it's called pranayama, which is the control of life force. Our breath is life force, energy. Perhaps you begin to notice what it feels like to be close to the earth and connected to your breath. Maybe you feel a sense that this is really supportive. Maybe you notice what it's like to be supported. To orient to this pose right here and now, and your breath as a resource. That this resource is available to you at any moment. Perhaps you notice what it's like to have this resource. Maybe a sensation, a warmth, a tingling, a pulsing might show up in your body, wherever that is. You can gently release the breath work now and come to a regular breathing cycle. And from here, slowly come up to a tabletop, taking your time, moving like molasses. Gently coming into a tabletop position, shoulders stacked over wrists, hips stacked over knees. And from here, you can just begin to do a simple cat-cow. On an inhale, you drop your belly, lift your gaze, and your tailbone rises. And on an exhale, start with the tailbone pointing downwards, and then arching your lower back, your mid back, your upper back, followed by your head down towards the ground, looking all the way down. On an inhale, back to your cow pose, letting your breath initiate the movement. You can stay with that Samavritti, that equal parts breath. Or maybe you seal your lips and begin to add texture to the back of your throat to allow for a more warming breath. Beautiful. Now you can begin to add some intuitive movements, and here's where the listening really comes in. So perhaps it might be nice to pay attention just for a few moments to your hip centers and how we would want you to move in this pose. You're welcome to move in hip circles, moving from one heel towards the other. And if you're moving in one direction, don't forget to do the other. Once again, the invitation here is for it to be a slow, intentional practice. You can Make a C shape or an S shape with your spine. There's no right or wrong way here. You know your body best. Your body speaks to you in the language of sensation. So perhaps you track what sensation feels really good. Maybe it feels nourishing. Maybe staying there for a few moments. This practice can be really helpful when it comes to processing emotions. If we are familiar with the language of our body, when we can observe sensations in the body, when emotions show up, we might have more capacity to be with these emotions. From here, you might want to stretch one leg back and then the other, moving into the hamstrings. Maybe you shift forward and back. Once again, this is your time to do exactly what your body wants you to do. Great. We'll come to stillness here. On an inhale, so come back to tabletop. On an inhale, lift your right arm up towards the sky. Perhaps circling your wrists, opening and closing your hand. And on an exhale, thread the needle and bring your shoulder down towards the mat and the side of your right temple down as well. Here, it might be nice to have a blanket once more. Your left hand can take one palm forward, stretching towards the front of your mat. Just take a few breaths here. Another variation can be for you to stretch your left leg behind you. That might add a little bit of a balance challenge here. Slowly come back, unraveling, bringing your leg down if it was stretched out. On an inhale, right arm comes up. And this time, maybe add some shoulder rolls, making circles with your elbow. On an exhale, place your palm back down, tabletop. Second side, left hand reaches up, circling the wrist, opening and closing the hand. And exhale, thread the needle. Find your variation here. It's okay if it's different than from the right side. The variations are for you to either stretch your right arm towards the front of your mat and your right leg straighten. Remember your breath here. And slowly come back to a tabletop position. Inhaling, left arm comes up towards the sky. Shoulder rolls, making circles with your elbow. And gently coming down to tabletop. We'll do one more pose here before we move into down dog. Stretch your right leg behind you. And then cross it over your left foot. So you should be able to see me. And then from here, look over your left shoulder towards your right foot. And this might invite a stretch on your right side body. Bring your right leg back to tabletop. Left leg stretches behind you. And then cross it over to the right and look back towards your left foot. Perhaps taking a nice deep breath into that side body. And then on an exhale, come back to tabletop.
Great. From here, we'll move into a downward facing dog. So place your palms down on the earth, press with your inner palm, or rather your outer palm. And then lift your hips up, bend your knees, and make a V shape, upside down V shape with your body. Knit your ribs in towards one another and really keep your knees bent here for the first one. And here's another really great place to explore some intuitive movement. Listening once again for sensation in your body that feels good. So maybe you swish your hips and your heels. You can bend one leg and then the other. You might want to explore coming forward to a plank and back to a down dog. And just find what feels really good here. And if good doesn't feel accessible, maybe you find what feels neutral or what feels accessible, even if it's 2%. Great. We'll come back down to your knees and bring your legs in front of you, and we'll come into a seat. So it might be nice here to have a blanket to sit on. I fold up my Mexican blanket into this shape. Just gonna sit on it. And when your legs are crossed in front of you and you notice that your hips are beneath your knee as far as the level, so you want your hips elevated over your knees, this creates some downward flow of energy so that your legs don't fall asleep. So if you see that's happening, you might want to have another blanket or a pillow beneath you. Great. Before we do any movement, just take a moment to notice already the temperature change within, maybe the pulse of your heartbeat or the quality of your breath. Without needing to make meaning out of anything or make it wrong, simply just becoming the witness to your experience. So from here, we're going to do some neck rolls. The invitation is to be really gentle with this area of the body. So we'll start just by bringing our right ear towards our right shoulder. Just allow for a nice stretch to happen from your left ear all the way down towards your left shoulder. Maybe just breathing there. And if it feels doable, you might want to add some movement. You can bring your nose up towards the ceiling, down towards the ground. You might explore making a half circle, coming over to the right side. We'll do the second side in a moment. Or rather coming over to the left side. And then back to the right. Maybe doing a half circle the other way. Let's say being really gentle, listening for your body's capacity. Notice where you might want to push beyond what's available to you right now. Maybe having your neck exposed doesn't feel safe or doable. I invite you to notice that and listen to your body and just do what feels safe, what feels doable. Great. Bring your head back to center and we'll move to the left. Bringing your left ear towards the left shoulder and taking a few breaths here, allowing for the right side of your neck to experience a stretch. Usually 2 or 3 breath cycles can feel really nice when we're in stillness in a specific pose. Giving some time and space for our body to orient to a new shape, a new sensation. Great, from here you can start to add your version of movement here.
Options are to bring the nose up towards the ceiling, down towards the floor. Maybe a half circle coming over to the right. Once again, listening for where your capacities are here. Allowing for stillness wherever it feels called. If you're doing a half circle and you feel a place that wants a little love and attention, please feel free to stay there for a few breaths. And this definitely goes without saying, but you're welcome to do any or none of the poses that I offer you today. Welcome to lay in Shavasana or in Child's Pose. What's most important that is that you're in consent with your body and your needs. Great, we'll come back to center. Let's take a clearing breath here together. We'll inhale, fill out towards the pelvic bowl once more. Exhale, sigh it out. You're all on mute, so you're welcome to do that anytime at whatever volume feels really good to you. I'll do one more. You're welcome to join me. Inhale. And when you add vibration to the back of your throat, you're actually stimulating your vagus nerve, which is connected to the nervous system, which helps down regulate your nervous system. So that's another resource that's available to you. Great. From here, we'll just start to do some shoulder rolls. Keeping it simple, this part of our body that tends to hold some tension. We'll just do both shoulders, moving towards the back of your body. And then reversing towards the front now. Great. From here, take your right palm, turn it facing you, and then put it towards your left hip. So I'm showing you here on the video, it should look like this. And allow it to be gentle here. You don't have to come all the way. If it's just right here in the center of your back, that's great too. But the intention is that you're drawing the front of your right shoulder back. We're just allowing for a nice stretch here in the front of the right shoulder. It might be nice for your left hand to help pull it just a little bit. Again, listening for capacity here. Listening for your edges and acknowledging those boundaries that your body is signaling to you. Take a nice deep breath here into the stretch. If you want to let it a little bit deeper, you can definitely bring your hand closer towards your left hip. And again, remember that the tops of the shoulders hug back, as if the right shoulder blade is hugging onto the center of your spine. We'll let go on an exhale, and then just shake it out. Some shoulder rolls here. Great. And we'll move to the second side. So once again, palm face you, and take it to the back of your lower back. Once again, finding here, I'm noticing that my left side has more capacity. There's more openness in my left compared to my right. So with this, I'm more available to then bring my right hand towards my left and bring it closer. Once again, remembering that the shoulder is going to lift up and back. Notice if you see there's a difference in that subtle movement. And then it's important here that your tailbone is tucked under. If your pelvic bowl it's tipped towards the back, but really it's coming into neutral here. Take a deep breath. And exhale. We'll do one more breath here. And exhale. Release. Shoulder rolls. Great. From here, we'll inhale, lift our arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, we'll come into a twist towards the right side. So bring your left hand to your right, knee and your right hand behind you. You might place it on the blanket or on your lower back for support. Gently look over towards your right shoulder. Inhale, arms come back up towards the ceiling, twist to the left. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale to the right, and now we'll stay here for 2 to 3 breaths. On an inhale, you're going to lengthen your spine as if there was a string pulling at the crown of your head. On an inhale, and on an exhale, you'll gently twist a little bit more, letting the twist come from the torso. Take a breath here, and exhale. One more inhale. And exhale, arms come up. On an inhale, exhale, twist to the left. Find your perfect twist here. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. Even if it's just 1%. Even if it's just an energetic twist. Beautiful. And inhale, bring your arms back up towards the ceiling. This time, let your palms come together and trace with your thumbs a center line down through your third eye, your center for intuition, down towards your throat, center for communication, naming, requesting, and receiving needs, and down to your heart center. Your thumb might rest on the center of your chest. And just take a few deep breaths here. Maybe inviting in a sense of gratitude for yourself. For allowing the curiosity of listening to your body. For allowing what is to be what is. For giving yourself permission to notice, sense, maybe even feel what's here in your beautiful, wise body. Great. Release your hands. We'll come back to a downward facing dog. You can move through a tabletop here or just find your way there. Beautiful. From here, we'll come into a lunge. So inhale, lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. Bend your knee, open the hip. It might feel nice to do a few hip circles, using your knee to draw the circles. Keep your foot flexed here. On an inhale, draw your knee towards the nose and place your right foot in between your hands. And left knee comes down to the mat. Great. From here, we'll actually just come up towards an upright position first. Place your hands on your knees. And notice that I'm not yet quite putting my hips down. I want to make sure that my hip flexor on my left leg is protected. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to place my hands on my right knee. And I'm actually going to tip my tailbone back as if I were trying to do a twerk. So the pelvic bowl is now tilted downwards, forwards. And then from here, I'm going to zip from the inside of my pelvic bowl and then scoop forward. Now the pelvic bowl comes back to neutral. And you might feel some more strength here on your left side. And then from here, you can begin to bend forward. It might not be as deep as you might be used to in a lunge, and that's because there's more integrity now in your hips. You're not quite dumping into your hip flexors, which can create pain and inflammation in that joint. So we'll take a few deep breaths here. Great. Place your hands to frame your front foot, and now you're going to walk your right leg towards the outside edge of your mat, and your foot's going to come at about a 45-degree angle.
We're coming into a lizard lunge. So from here, you can start to bend a little bit forward, letting your hips come closer to the ground. And here, it might be nice to have a block. If not, you can stay with your arms upright. And come a bit closer so you can see me. Not quite sure how to position that. And just take a few deep breaths here. If you want a little bit of a deeper sensation in your hips, you can place your forearms down to the ground. Maybe experiment with one arm and then the other. Your back leg can be flexed or pointed. So flex is when your toes are meeting the ground. Pointed is when the top of your foot is down on the mat. Take a few deep breaths here, 2 to 3 inhales and exhales. And on your last exhale, gently come back up and walk your foot back to center. And from here, we're going to come into some nice hamstring stretches. So you can lean back and then point your right foot towards you, coming into the hamstring here. This is a half split. On an inhale, rock forward towards the lunge. Exhale, back towards straight leg. We're just adding some fluidity, some movement here in the hips. So you're moving forward to a lunge and back to a half splits. You can use your hands to walk yourself back. And here it might be nice to maybe come into your fingertips for some more space between your torso and your hips and your thighs rather. And we'll just do this for another 2 to 3 more breaths. Once again, finding your own pace, finding where it feels most nourishing for you. If the hamstring stretch feels best, stay there. Breathe into that sensation in your hamstrings. Great, gently come back to a lunge position. Place your hands firmly to frame your front foot. Tuck your left leg if it's not already there. Lift it up and bring your right leg back towards a plank pose. We'll take one breath here. Inhale and exhale, press back to downward facing dog. We won't be here long. On an inhale, lift your left leg up high, bend the knee, perhaps once again exploring your hip circles, drawing circles with your knee. And then gently bring your left leg towards the front of your mat, knee to nose, and placing your left leg. We'll do the same thing on this side as we did the right. Gently come up, placing your hands on your left knee. Take a breath here. Once again, finding that neutral spot first, and then gently tucking your tailbone, tilting your tailbone, and then tucking it forward, coming into your lunge. Take a few deep breaths here. And then gently framing your front foot. We're coming now into the lizard lunge. So walk your left foot over to the corner of your mat, coming at an angle. Then finding where it feels good here, allowing for 1 or 2 breaths to settle into the pose before accessing more depth. Take one more breath cycle here. And then coming out of whatever variation you have, walk your left leg towards the center. Once again, we're going to flow from a hamstring stretch to a lunge. So bring your left foot towards your nose. And be mindful not to lock your knee here. So keeping a very slight bend in your left leg when you come into the hamstring stretch. And then inhale, coming towards the lunge. And we'll just take a few moments here, a few breath cycles to create that fluidity and movement on the left side. Wonderful. All right, once you feel a sense of completion, gently place your hands to frame your front foot. This time we're going a little bit different. You're going to tuck your right leg, lift it, and then step forward, coming into a forward fold. So your hips are going to be about hip width apart. You can place your hands in front of your legs and keep a really nice deep bend in your knees. And gently let go of the head, let the neck become heavy. Maybe you shake your head yes and no. Allow for some buoyancy in the knees. On an inhale, come to a halfway lift. Bring the tips of your fingers towards your shins and make your spine flat. So we're having a flat back here. Take a deep breath here. And on an exhale, come back to forward fold. On an inhale, we're going to come all the way up to standing. Exhale, palms touch, tracing that center line once more towards the heart center. We'll do that flow 2 more times. Inhale, lift your arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold forward. Half sun salutations. Inhale, come up to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up to standing. Exhale, palms to heart center. 1 more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Great, we'll spend a few more moments here. Maybe you cross your arms, your hands to opposite elbows. Maybe you rock from side to side. We're going to do a gentle twist. Bring your feet just slightly wider apart this time. And then place your right hand right in between, creating a triangle with your right hand and your 2 feet. From here, bend your right knee and straighten your left. And on an inhale, lift your left arm up towards the ceiling, opening across the chest and letting your left arm come up towards the sky. Take a deep breath here. Exhale, replace your left hand with your right, or your right hand with your left, rather. Bend at your left knee. Right knee straightens. Inhale, opening across the chest. Right hand comes up towards the ceiling. Remember your breath in this pose. Notice where you feel the sensations the most. And exhale, come to a forward fold, both knees bend. Inhale, rise up to standing. And exhale, palms to heart center. Great. All right, loves, we're actually going to slow down from here. So come all the way down to your mat. And this is more of a restorative portion of the class. We'll do about 3 and up to 7 minutes per pose. It's a little bit more yin. And this just allows for the nervous system to calm down after a little bit of warmth and perhaps even some activation. So from here, you're going to come down into a forward fold. So bring your knees, your legs out straight in front of you. Inhale to lengthen your spine. And then exhale, begin to walk forward. And keep your spine straight as much as possible as you bend forward. And when you notice that the top of your spine begins to round, that's where you'll stop and pause, come back to straighten, and then gently let your head bend. So you're bending at the cervical spine. Again, it might not look as steep, but there's more integrity in the spine. Your hands can rest gently on either side of your legs. Just take a few breaths, allowing your nervous system to down-regulate here. We'll do 5 more breath cycles here on your own pace. Okay. Gently come up on an inhale, walk your hands back towards your hips, coming to a straight spine. Inhale, press your hands on the sides of your hips up towards the ceiling to lengthen. For 1 breath, and exhale to let it all go. It's soft. Okay. The next forward fold that we're going to do, you're going to bring your right foot inside of your left thigh. You can adjust your seat, maybe lengthening your left leg so that you're coming onto the sit bones. And from here, we're actually going to fold in front of us first. So gently walk your hands forward. Keep your left leg flexed here. Once again, we're protecting the knee. If your leg is straight but your foot isn't flexed, you're adding pressure onto the knee. So flex your left foot as much as you can. Fold forward here, and then gently walk towards and over your left leg. You might lift a little bit to add a twist, again, coming from the torso, twisting towards the left leg. And you might notice some sensation here in the lower right side of your lower back. We'll spend a few moments here. It might also be nice if you have blocks or a book to place your hands so that the earth rises to meet you. And we'll spend 7 breath cycles here. Once again, noticing the sensation that you feel wherever you're noticing it. Notice how you meet sensation in your body. Notice how you meet perhaps the possibility of difficulty. Gently on an inhale, start to come back up towards a straight spine. We'll do a light twist towards the right side. Bring your left hand towards your right knee. Gentle twist, looking over your right shoulder. And come back to center. We'll switch it out. Right leg
Come straight, left leg, left foot inside of the right thigh. Once again, adjust as needed. Find length in the spine first, and then gently begin to fold forward at the center of your torso before walking over to the right side. Once again, finding what feels accessible here. Maybe twisting again from the torso. Sometimes I like to place my right hand to give a little bit of leverage as I twist. And then again, framing your right foot, remembering to flex, even if just a little bit. And we'll rest here for 5 to 7 breath cycles. Great, gently walk your hands back towards your hips, coming to an upright position, lengthening up, and then light twist to the left. Right hand comes to the left knee, left hand comes behind you. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, look over your left shoulder. Great, and come back to center. All right, we'll do one more forward fold before we come onto our backs for the rest of practice today. We'll do butterfly pose, Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. And here's where you can kind of experiment with how close you want your heels towards you. If you bring it closer, that's going to be more of an inner thigh stretch. And if you bring it towards more of a diamond shape, that's going to be a lower back stretch. So find what feels like a good position for you here. I like to place my hands on my shins to inhale and lengthen the spine once more. And then exhale, slowly start to fold forward. Once again, keeping the integrity of the spine as much as possible here, letting it be straight. And then letting the cervical spine, the back of the neck, to release here. It might feel like a little bit of work. Notice how your consciousness meets a little bit of effort, a little bit of difficulty. Perhaps noticing how these forward folds might have helped your nervous system. This down regulation, because healing can only happen and integrate when we feel safe, when our nervous system can be present without the fight or flight. Great. Come back up to an upright position. Gently bring your knees to close by placing your hands beneath them and then closing them like a book. Then maybe place your hands behind your back and then windshield wiper your legs. Great. And then from here, we'll lay flat on our mats, coming onto our backs. We'll be here for the rest of class, moving into Shavasana. Great. So on your back, gently bring your knees towards your chest. Maybe give yourself a hug, rocking from side to side. From here, you're going to extend your left leg and bring your right knee towards your armpit, your right armpit. Keep both legs flexed. We'll just take a few breaths here, hugging the right knee in towards your right armpit. Great. From here, we're coming to a figure 4. So bend your left knee, place your foot on the mat, and then bring your right ankle towards the top of your left knee. This figure 4 can be a really nice hip opener. You might feel really good over here. Maybe you place your right hand on the top of your right knee and press it back a little. If you want a little bit more sensation, you can lift your left leg up towards you, keeping your right foot flexed, once again, remembering to protect the knee. And maybe you bring your arms, your hands through the little hole that's in between your right and left legs, and then cross your arms, or rather bring your hands together behind your left knee. We'll take a few breaths here in this hip opener. Once again, listening for your capacities here. Great. From here, we're coming into a supine twist. There are a few variations that you can explore here. So you can either just, as you are, shift your hip over to the right a little, and then stamp your right foot down onto the mat. This is actually a deeper sensation. Another option would be to lengthen your left leg and then let the right hip be over towards the left side. The more restorative option would actually be to bring both knees together and just stack your right hip over your left. Your shoulders are going to be flat on the ground, and it's up to you where you want your gaze to go. You can look over your right shoulder for a full spinal twist, or you can look up towards the ceiling or over the left. And here we'll actually spend about 2 minutes. Supine twists are really restorative. They can help down regulate the nervous system, so they're great for anxiety. It also stimulates your organs, which aids in digestion, which is an integral part of the healing process. Our bodies in a restful state can integrate and alchemize the energetic and physical qualities of our healing. You gently bring your knees, whatever variation you had, bring them back to center. Maybe you can place your legs down onto the mat, your feet down onto the mat, and rock from side to side, windshield viper once more. Maybe you hug your knees in and rock from side to side here, massaging the lower back. And then we'll move on to the second side. Extend your right leg. Left knee hugs in towards the left armpit. Keeping both legs flexed, feet flexed. We'll take a few breaths here. Hip openers can often be pretty intense as far as sensation goes. So just notice what feels doable here, especially as we move into our next pose, the figure 4. Bend your right leg, place your right foot on the ground. Left ankle comes to the top of your right knee. Really, it's the top of your left thigh, right? Then maybe you press with your left leg, on the left knee and see how that feels. If you want a little bit of a deeper sensation, you can bring your right leg, your legs towards your face and hooking the arms behind your right upper thigh. Take a few breaths here. From here, we'll find our supine twist. Find what variation feels good for you. First, shift your hips over to the left to create more space for the twist. And then finding the variation that feels good to you, you can bring however your feet were in figure 4 down towards the ground. You can extend your right leg, or you can bring both knees towards one another. Spend 2 minutes here. Remembering your breath. In these final moments of practice together, notice what's here for you, any emotions or thoughts. Notice how the quality of your breath might have shifted. Great. Right. Gently come back to center. Lift your knees up towards the ceiling. Shift your hips back to center. From here, you might want to bring your knees back towards your chest, rocking from side to side. You can also explore happy baby, so allowing the soles of your feet to face the ceiling. Your knees come towards your armpits, and then from here you can either stretch one leg and the other, maybe you rock from side to side, maybe you giggle like a little happy baby. And once you're ready, you can gently release everything and come into your final resting pose, Shavasana. Let your feet get heavy, maybe you shake them out. Maybe you let out a sigh. From here, your palms are going to face up towards the ceiling. And you're gently going to tuck one shoulder underneath your back and then the other, creating a little shelf for your heart space, allowing for some opening across the chest. And you're in Shavasana. You can release any form of breath control. Allow your thoughts to soften, the edges to soften, the breath to soften. Let the mind come into a restful state. Perhaps allowing yourself to let go of what wants to be released. From here, I'm going to play a song through my computer, and the end of the song will signal the end of Shavasana, and I'll guide you out of that. Give me a moment to set that up.
hope you can hear this.
begin to bring your breath back into your body, your attention, your awareness back to here and now. And gently rolling over to one side, coming to a fetal position just for one moment, offering gratitude once more to the earth, to the community, to yourself, to the wisdom that is uniquely yours, that resides within your body. And gently press up to a seat, coming into Sukhasana, easy pose. And from here, it might feel nice to place your hands at heart center, offering again once more gratitude to the teachings of yoga, to yourself for showing up today, for honoring your body, noticing and building the capacities within yourself. Thank you for being here. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Lori, you can stop the recording now, I believe.
Perfect, will do.
Thank you.